Mark Byrne, thank you for coming and talking to me. And first of all, congratulations on a really hugely successful exit of Assurex Health. Can you tell us a little bit about the company and just give some background on Assurex Health?
Sure. Well, my connection with Assurex started in the summer of 2005. I was working as a consultant for Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and my job was to develop a commercialization plan for what they called their genetic pharmacology service. This was already operating within the Children's Hospital confines, and they had some interesting success from physicians in the hospital and wanted to see if it could be something bigger and better. So my job was to take a look broadly at the opportunity and put together a business plan, which is what ultimately led to the formation of Assurex as a company, the licensing of the technology from Cincinnati Children's, and just as importantly, the identification and licensing from Mayo Clinic. Ultimately, that became the foundation of the company.
So what problem were you solving when you created Assurex, when you found this technology and said, I can create a company around it?
So the fundamental problem that it addressed was what we used to call right drug, right dose, right now. That was the original tagline for the company. And the idea was to give physicians a tool that would allow them to find the right medication at the right dose, right now, quickly, for patients that they would otherwise take many weeks or months of trial and error therapy to achieve the right drug at the right dose.
So when you were looking through the inventory, so to speak, at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and then you and your team picked this technology to work on, what made you think that it was a winner? What did you know back then that it was a winner, and if so, what made you think that might be the case?
So the real indication that this was a winner came from physicians. As I talked to physicians and understood, namely, what their current practice was and how it would change or how it could change with this technology, with this product. And then finally, the impact on patients. When you put that story together of physicians and changing patients' lives, that became clear that this was a winner.
I mean, did you have a moment when you felt in the pit of your stomach, you know, we've really got something here?
Sure. My son was tested. He was one of the first patients tested. His doctor was at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. And it was interesting because we went in for a regularly scheduled appointment. He was being seen by the developmental group at Cincinnati Children's. And the physician was trying to explain to me pharmacogenetics. And I said, stop, time out. I explained the context of my involvement in the pharmacogenetics project and answered her questions and said, yes, we would go ahead, we would consent to have this test done. So my son was cheek swabbed. He was about 9 years old at the time at Children's. And the results came back, and lo and behold, he had a genetic polymorphism that explained why his meds weren't working. So we made it to the change, and the symptoms cleared up.
Well, Mark, that's great to hear. When we invest in companies like yours, of course, we're working on behalf of our fund investors, and we want to get them the right financial returns. What's most important, though, is for us to feel like we're participating in something that's going to help the human race.
Right.
And this is sort of the ultimate case of that. So thanks for sharing that. So, Mark, you're off on a great new company called Proteosense. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Proteosense is a rapid pathogen test product targeted for food safety. We're going to break the bottleneck that exists in the food manufacturing process for pathogen testing. We're going to reduce it from 3 days to under 2 hours. We have significant traction with major customers in the marketplace, and we're working to build out the product and release it to market in 2019.
Sounds like a lot of parallels between the two companies. Big market, helping people not only live healthier lives, but maybe even saving their lives. So what's the one thing that you learned from Assurex Health that you're going to apply most clearly with Proteosense?
I think the biggest thing I learned was focus, and focus on what's really important. So one of the challenges any startup company faces is picking the right things to do. There's a myriad of things that a startup can spend its time on any given day. And the CEO has to be focused on what's going to drive value, what's going to drive value for the company and in turn the shareholders. And that's a lesson that carried over from Assurex to Proteosense that I think has made a difference for us in terms of how we execute and our ability to attract financing and customers.
Well, Mark, on behalf of the members of the Ohio Tech Angel Fund and our entrepreneurial community here in Columbus and in Ohio in general, I want to thank you again for making this company into the success story that it is. Congratulations.
You're welcome. Thank you.